Is bitches still coming up short fucking with Too Short?
For real. Ain't no cash app. Ain't no negotiating. None of that.
It seemed like when we were young, everything seemed so goddamn, it was magnified of such larger importance than right now.
I kind of feel like it's the same thing the young homies going through now, though.
You think so?
They just got a tool called social media, so it can travel in a different manner.
Right.
But it still was that pull up. It still was whatever. You know, it was tension.
Right.
And then a wise man to step in and kind of solve it or not. But whatever, it was the same.
Or to solve itself. Sometimes time allows shit. You know what I'm saying? Time and separation will allow shit to kind of dissipate.
I feel like you got to do it though, man. You gotta.
If everybody agree with what you're doing, you ain't doing shit. You know what I mean?
For sure.
If you ain't ruffling no feathers, man, upsetting nobody, man, about what you're doing, I mean you ain't doing shit.
But I'm so glad I could enjoy a rap career for a substantial amount of time without social media.
Word.
I'm so glad I was able to be
I'm glad I got a taste of it too.
A celebrity
before camera phones.
Yeah, exactly. Before social media, period. It was just a thing where people didn't have a camera all the time, so they were like, if I had a camera, I'd take a picture, but you ain't got a damn camera on you.
Man, that
if
shit
I had a pen, I'd get an autograph. You ain't got no fucking pen on you.
That shit pissed me off more than anything, man. I think whoever invented the camera phone, they need to be goddamn kicked in the ass. You know what I'm saying?
That was a pretty shitty invention.
Yeah, that was horrible, man. You know, that was so fucking selfish of them.
But a camera phone was cool, but now with social media attached to it, it's
right. Now you get fame for it.
Instant uploading and shit. Damn.
Yeah, paparazzi and all kinds of media, fake-ass media platform that will encourage motherfuckers to be private eye investigators for no fucking reason. You know what I mean?
But I think on the flip side to how I used to walk the streets, and walk up to every dope dealer, every group of dope dealers trying to sell a tape.
Right.
Shit, it would have been so lovely to have the internet back then.
Man, you know what I'm saying?
I would have did that street hustle, but I would have been online too.
But just imagine how many people you could have motherfucking read, because you sold like 150,000 out the trunk, right?
Yeah, but I would just
you hand to hand,
just buying boxes and selling them.
Man, imagine if you could have put that shit on the net and reached London or Paris or motherfucking all these other places.
I'd be shipping to this day.
Hey,
real.
And now you brought up a great point, because you said, man, pretty much, man, it was the same generational gap. And the misunderstanding amongst the generations then as it is now. But to me, and I'm going back to my experiences, like when I met you, you know what I'm saying? When I encountered you, when I encountered Big Boy, when I encountered Gip and Cujo and Timo and them, like, it didn't feel like, oh, I think them niggas against me.
No.
You see what I'm saying?
Something had to happen.
Right.
For somebody to become the enemy. Something had to be a real incident. It couldn't just be like, oh, I don't like y'all across the room. Hip hop wasn't like that.
I never felt like a motherfucker was on some, man, what the fuck is this? Why them young niggas doing shit like that? So I don't understand why now it's such a divide. I don't really get that for real. You know what I mean? I think you guys, y'all generation, y'all accepted us. At least I feel like I was accepted with open arms. You know what I mean?
was raised on, if you got beef with a rapper, anybody, anything, the last thing you want to do is talk about it or rap about it. Like you want it to just happen.
That's real.
Like man,
you know what I'm saying?
We squashed a lot of beefs just by being face to face.
Right.
Like, bro, it's not about to be a rap thing, bro. It's about to be like us and y'all.
Yeah.
They're like, nah, man. It's like whatever it be. Like we just end up being homies, and we let that shit go. We wasn't really like escalating to the point of, like my homies wouldn't even let me, like, even if I wanted to take a side in the East Coast or West Coast rap battle, they'd be like, nigga, we from Oakland, nigga, what you talking about? Ain't nobody, what are you talking about? You about to jump in on the rap battle?
I think, man, but like as a elder statesman and a self-proclaimed old ass rapper, you know what I'm saying? How could you advise somebody like me, you know what I'm saying, as a like better politics of how to kind of communicate better and understand the next generation better? What's your formula?
I feel like a lot of people needed what we call kingpins.
Right.
We don't use that word a lot anymore. Kingpin was like the unofficial mayor of the neighborhood.
The gatekeeper.
Was the boss.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Who could bring justice.
Right.
Or the opposite, whatever. So I think when we like made Kingpin a really bad thing, we made Kingpin a life sentence. Kingpin get 40 years.
It was really just leadership.
And that was a part of it. But, you know, it was a crime being involved and whatever. But I'm saying
sometimes
we took away that leadership.
Yeah.
So
semantics. Those are just, you know, minor details. So
I'm on that mind frame where in the days of a Kingpin, you don't call the police.
That's right.
You call the Kingpin and say, man, it's about to be some stuff in your neighborhood between me and old boy over there. Yeah. Can it be?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You get the yay or the nay.
You had to be sanctioned.
Yeah. So we lost that.
Right.
Ain't nobody. If I don't really know of a lot of cats that got that. Yeah. You might have had it over your crew, but cats used to have that over a whole side of town. Yeah. Over a whole neighborhood, over a whole city.
And now it's just renegade motherfucker running around doing kamikaze shit.
So I squashed a lot of stuff in my day by immediately asking my OGs and your OGs, can we have a war? And they like, what is it about? Nah, y'all can't do it.
Right.
Or they'll you know, the council.
And then you have to squash that shit.
And we don't take that time right now through social media and through, you know, just that. I like to think, you know, it's a lot more than just social media, bro. We talking about the kids of all these, you know, could have been drug users, drug dealers, people that got murdered, people that got caught in the net. Right. You know, the
crack era,
the war on crime, the war
on drugs,
the war on drugs. That whole little, you know, mass incarceration, big old picture.
Right.
And you got all these kids. You can sit them down right now and say, how many of y'all grew up with your mom and daddy? And then, you know, they're going to start.
Fractions.
I grew up with my mama. I grew up with my daddy. I grew up with my auntie. I grew up with my big brother, whatever. Yeah. And it starts breaking down to a whole group of kids that go, I didn't grow up with nobody. We raised ourselves.
Right.
So it's like, why would I listen to an OG telling me to think about it? Fuck thinking about it. It made me mad. I'm about to go get him. So it's just like that. Ain't no, the rules is gone. You know, the gangbanging used to have like hand-me-down generation to generation rules. And a lot of cats going now, man. You know, they like, nigga, I'm an OG killer too, nigga. So,
that's real.
You know what I'm saying?
That's real. So, I mean, that's what we got to. We got to get back to the respect. You know what I'm saying? That was because you respected those leaders so much. You got little dudes who probably got it in them right now to be a leader. Right. But what's the cost of being a leader if you're gonna be a hood leader? That's real. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna get that kingpin time. That's real. I mean, well, you know what? I think those leadership qualities can be applied to different how do you say, like talents, like legitimate business, by legitimate means. And you know what I'm saying, even if, for instance, one of those kids could take those same talents he had and be a young Huey P. Newton, you know what I'm saying, and start the Black Panthers or another organization that could really, you know, uplift. I feel like all those rich dope dealers of the 80s and the 90s was CEOs. That's real. They was executives. Absolutely. I say this shit all the time, man. I say, goddamn, really, the war on drug, the crack era, as horrible as it was, the epidemic tore down the community and dismantled families and incarcerated people, stole lives, definitely. But it also, as I said before, there could be no bad without good and vice versa. It also allowed us an opportunity to understand business. You understand? Understand manufacturing, distribution, understand, you know, like just profit loss, you know what I'm saying? Just different areas of business that we would never have the opportunity to be included in had it not been for the crack era. And I use the specific example. Take Eazy-E, right? Right. Eazy was a Compton neighborhood dope dealer, right? Okay, he had a homeboy. Eazy didn't have no dream. He just wanted to be the best dope dealer he could be. You know what I'm saying? He had the means to do it. His homeboy had a dream. His homeboy dream was to be a DJ and a record producer. Easy to say, well, shit, that what you want to do? I believe in you. I got this money. I'm going to invest in you. All right? So him selling dope allowed him the opportunity to invest in Dr. Dre, which then brought about NWA and changed, you know, the narrative on the West Coast, you know, just politically and in other ways. And now Dr. Dre is a billionaire. And that started from the money that Eazy was able to subsidize through his drug business. Well, you know, Eazy is one of my heroes because I understand the tree of hip hop, the family tree. If you take him out the equation, a lot of shit wouldn't exist. Just imagine that. Like this, not a lot of people in hip hop have the branches that he has. Right. And his branches are Ice Cube, absolutely, Dr. Dre, absolutely.
Eminem, 50 Cent.
Yeah, I mean,
don't exist if he don't come in the game. Bone Thugs and Harmony.
That's cold.
You know what I'm saying? The list is long though.
Yeah, that's cold.
Of very significant contributions to hip hop that didn't come directly from him, but they came because of him.
That's right. You know what, man? And you being a true hip hop pimp pioneer. Now, a lot of people may not know that when you started rapping back in the day, that police were stopping your shows for obscenities. And we talk a lot about, you know what I'm saying, Uncle Luke and Band in the USA, but, you know, people were boycotting your shows and shit because you was, you had girls giving oral sex on stage and shit like that.
Things would happen.
And
you, it wasn't really so much as they would be out for too short around the country, but if I'm about to do a show in Tulsa, Oklahoma,
right,
and it's 1990 and it's the Bible Belt, and they ain't really seen a lot of hip hop. It's an issue.
Yeah,
it's some church folk getting together and they like something bad is about to happen to our kids. Like,
something bad about it. Okay, but yet and still they can be behind the scene living the life of polygamy and you know what I'm saying, doing all they shit that they doing, but they don't want you to be in the auditorium saying what you want to say.
Yeah, you
that's some bullshit.
Well, you know, it's the Bible Belt, man. But it was places like that. Even I'd be up in maybe the Northwest in some small town in the state of Washington,
right?
And they I remember doing a show that was sold out.
Okay,
I get my money, and the audience is empty, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? A sold out show in an empty audience, and they like the parents. It's like a really strict religious community. They the parents told the kids if they go, then you know. They already bought the tickets, so they can't refund them. But their parents made a picket line outside, and they couldn't cross it.
But shit, that shit just made it even bigger.
I done been to shows where they told the audience, they was like, okay, basically they said we don't want you. You can watch it, but you can't like it. So they say,
can watch it, but you can't like it.
The rules at the show was everybody has to sit in their seat. No one can stand up, and you can't cheer or do any of that. If I go say ho, they can't say it back.
Damn.
So they just did the show. They had to quietly love it.
Man,
we done been arrested right off stage.
For real? For what? What was the charge?
It was always for using obscene language in front of a public crowd or something like that.
That shit against the law? In
cities like Savannah, Georgia, it was always Cincinnati, Ohio. Everybody's shit. It's probably them laws is probably still on the books.
Well, listen, brother, I thank you for trailblazing, kicking down the doors to fight for freedom of speech, so we can get out here, man,
and get our money.
Act a donkey, and bitches can suck cucumbers today. But real spill though, bro. I think that without sacrifices that were made by people like you, you know what I'm saying, that people like me would not have, such illustrious career. So I really do appreciate it. You're a motherfucking legend in my eyes. Now, out of your legendary career, man, how many albums have you recorded?
My official number is 20, but it's
20 albums.
A lot of stuff happening there. A lot of compilations, a lot of guest appearances, a lot of...
God damn. 20 albums.
20 solid albums, mixed, mastered, released albums.
So let me ask you, which one of those albums, if you had to pick one that you feel like was, I guess, a highlight of your career that kind of opened up new doors of success for you, which album would that be?
Well, the album that sums up the whole first part of my career is album number 10, Getting It. Get It While the Getting Is Good.
Okay.
Now, that album was the end of an era for me where I was working with a team of producers.
Okay. The Dangerous Crew.
Yeah. We had a keyboard player. We had a guitar player.
Right.
Bass. My man Ant Banks was programming and mixing and stuff. And we just, I make music. I'm in the studio we do it. It's just our little crew.
Right.
And we probably did about 4 or 5 2-short albums and a bunch of other albums in our crew. But we had a sound. And that was a sound that people know and love that sound.
That's right.
So that album number 10 was perfectly, it sounds like what the whole time we was trying to do.
Yeah.
And we finally got to it and we did it. But then you get to a certain point with a certain crew.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody got a little Benz, everybody got a little house, everybody got a little
Everybody
crew.
want more.
And I ain't gonna say that it was more, but everybody want to be they own man,
Right.
And it's like, man, we got a good thing. Let's keep going. I'm the boss.
Yeah.
Hey, like, man, nigga, nigga. I mean, one of the homies was like, man, I just need 100,000 right now. I said, 100,000, that's cool. I give you 100,000. He go, all you gotta do is this, and this. You had 100,000. Like, no, I want it up front.
Up front.
I'm like, nigga, you gonna get it in?
With no recouping or nothing.
Just give me $100,000.
Just give you $100,000 on the cool.
But, you know, it's just, everybody see how the money be split up, and sometimes they're affected by you going to buy 2 jet skis or something.
Anytime you count another nigga pockets, it's a bad decision to follow.
So then I would say coming out of that era, I stepped back. Some of us still stayed together. We kept the funk going.
Right.
But I think Little John and the when he gave me Shake That Monkey and Blow the Whistle on 2 different albums back to back.
Right.
That was like a whole new career for me.
Right.
Like I was at a point where I was Too Short Dog, Freaky Tales, Getting It. Like, you know,
right.
I had like 6 platinum albums and 4 gold albums.
Right.
And here come Lil Jon. My shit should have been the story. That was a great story.
Right.
Here come Lil Jon. I'm like, man, I like the way this dude beats sound. I like this dude's energy.
Right.
I took Lil Jon. I got a tour with the Hot Boys headlining as the Hot Boys.
Right.
And it was UGK. It was Mystical. It was me. It was a whole little crew.
Right.
I took Lil Jon as like you let somebody open for you.
Right.
He wasn't even famous.
Right.
I let the nigga close for me.
Right.
Because of what he used to do in Atlanta and
that
do
man
around.
had an incredible energy.
Yeah, so I would do my whole show, and then we had that song, "What the fuck you gonna do?" Nigga?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? What's that shit? Couldn't be a better player than me.
Okay.
Even if you fucked every day of the week. That
That's
shit was
right.
big in Atlanta. So I would do that song with him, and the crowds would go crazy, and then I would just leave, and this nigga would just take him to a frenzy.
Just turn up.
And you know, early on, I knew that Lil Jon was he needed me to get in the game,
right?
But I needed them beats.
Yeah, you needed that sauce.
So I was like,
and it was a different energy because I think that Blow the Whistle and what's the first one?
Shake That Monkey.
Shake That Monkey. Those were the first 2 times I heard Too Short in the club.
In the club, yeah. Lil Jon.
Them were the first times I heard a Too Short record playing consistently in the club.
And that's
and on the radio.
That was the Lil Jon Connect. That was the new career.
Yeah.
'Cause I got a whole fan base now that go, shit, Too Short all about shaking your ass, and then I'm like, not the early days. The early days was about talking shit,
man,
and some bass and riding around in your car listening to it.
That's real. You know what? So aside from Life is Too Short and Short Dogs in the House.
Mm-hmm.
The one album or the 2 albums I think of yours that really, really stood out to me in my childhood and in my teenage years, Get In Where You Fit In, and Cocktails.
And that was in that little run I was saying with the crew. Cause, I listened back to them albums, man. And
I got to ask you though. Wait a minute before you get into that.
Yeah.
So is bitches still coming up short, fucking with Too Short?
For real, ain't no Cash App, ain't no negotiating, none of that.